Hi everybody, this is Gavin from Gavin's Gadgets. This is the Nokia 5. This is my review covering everything as a power user. Can a power user use the Nokia 5? I've pushed this to the limit, so let's take a closer look and then I'll summarise at the end. So this is the Nokia 5 box, as you can see, and if you have a look at the box, bring it a bit closer, it does say that it's aluminium precision machined unibodies. It's 6000 series aluminium, 4G VoLTE ready. It's 2 gig of RAM, 16 gig of storage, expandable with a micro SD card. Uses a Snapdragon 430. It's a 5.2 inch 1080p. Sorry, it's not 1080p, it's 720p. Polarized display and a 13 megapixel autofocus rear and autofocus front camera as well. So what you get in the box, let's have a look at what we get in the box. So if I, obviously the phone which I've taken out, I'll show you in a second. Under here you get a few protective sort of information, how to use the phone, how to protect the phone. In this silly box you get the micro USB. That is micro, some really cheap and nasty sort of headset. If you could find something that was slightly better on these, then that would be great. And there's the plug. So really not that interested in all that razzmatazz. So this is the phone. It's really looks, bring that a bit closer, it looks really nice, as you can see. It's got power button, volume here, and on this side it has micro SD slot here, and this is where you can put the SIM cards. Now this is the single SIM, but you can have one with 2 SIMs, so you can have 2 SIMs and a micro SD card. That's pretty good. And I've got a 32 gig micro SD card now. It does have a fingerprint sensor on the bottom, so we've just tapped that and it's just unlocked. Now as you can see, the Snapdragon 430 that powers this, that is one of the sort of main considerations, its speed. I have done a drop test on this. It's went sat in the car and it slipped out of my trouser pockets and hit the road, and it fell flat down, so from about a couple of feet, and there is a slight chip on the corner of the paint, but that's already, this is aluminium 6000, so it's pretty solid. That was about it, the only mark. And as it landed on the screen, I don't know if you can see, I'll just try and zoom in a little bit there, there is a slight crack here on the glass. So for the rest of the review, I'm going to put it in this cheap silicone case that I found, which does the job quite nicely, and I do think you need a case for this. So here we have the phone. I'll bring it a bit closer so you can see, and then make sure the focus comes in, that's better. This is a power user setup. So I have, if we come into here, I've got all the apps you expect. So what I put in productivity apps, I've got loads of social media apps, and I'll show you some of those. It does have an FM radio as well, and I've got my Hue lighting connected, my security cameras, my weather station, Fitbit. Yeah, remember this is got a lot of stuff installed, and for such a, you know, only it's got 16 gig of storage. You know, that's it starts with obviously it's the system profile, but it does run a fairly neat version of Android. It's got Android 1. So if I have a look here, you can see that I have, bring that a bit closer, I've got messages, SMS, text messages, Twitter, Messenger, WhatsApp, Facebook, Yahoo Mail, Duo, Flickr, Instagram, Google Plus, Telegram. So there's an awful lot of sort of social media stuff going in the background. I've got some other apps here as well. I've got all the devices running. Google Pay, that does work. It does have NFC and I use it all the time. But with everything, what you'll see is you just have to wait for things to load up. So if you tap an app, you'll notice you can count a few seconds, and there we go, and it's opened up and it's refreshed. But it's not the fastest, and sometimes from when if you've left it overnight, you might have to wait sort of 10 seconds or so for it all to do all the background processes, and I'll show you a bit more about that. We'll open Instagram, and you can see that again it's just, you know, just takes that bit of time to open. It's not as fast. I have tapped the fingerprint sensor, and again you can see the actual sort of slowness. We'll take a look at some of the options in the settings, and you've got all the toggles here. Now, one thing when you do get this now, this is running, believe it or not, Android 8.1, and it's got the 1st of August security patch. So, got to give it. When I first fired this up, it had a 1.8 gig download to install the latest Android 8.1, and that was from Android 7. So it really did improve. So you've got all the usual stuff here that you can have. Connected devices, Bluetooth, NFC, and I have everything on. So, you know, I am pushing this an awful lot. On the display side, you can have auto brightness. It's got a night light with the schedule as well, which I use. Adaptive brightness, has sunlight mode to improve readability in direct sunlight. That's actually pretty good. Auto rotate screen display size, so you can change the display as ambient display, so it sort of just shows you the notifications briefly. And a navigation key light, which if I show you that down the bottom there, keep fading the different camera here. Sound, so you got all the usual sound options. You've got do not disturb, and you have all the vibration options and stuff like that. Not bad at all. Storage, remember this is 2 gig, and I've got, with everything I've got installed, I've got about 4 gig free, just 4.5 gig free. So that's enough. It's working pretty well. Security lock, fingerprint sensor, accessibility. You know, it's fairly straightforward, and you know, there you go. System up to date, Android 8.1, and it does have the 1st of August update on there, so it's fairly straightforward. Now I'm going to show you the camera, and again this takes time to actually focus. Did you see that? It just takes that little bit longer before it actually focuses, comes ready to use. So again, you're not going to have, and I've just taken a picture, we can have a look at that. Now what I will say, because this is a 720p panel, and again you could see that was out of focus. It's probably too close to the cameras, but never mind. So we'll just delete that, and we'll go back to the camera. And you can see it's not, you know, again it's not a fast. And again, it does take reasonable photos. It's just not. It's playing up a little bit here. I think I've got the camera lights are quite sharp, but I've got special lighting in the room, and it's confusing the camera. But you've got HDR auto, timer. You can also have a sort of a beauty type mode as well. Turn that off, and then you've got other options here in the camera: photo, panorama, manual. It doesn't have every option, so it has. You can change how you want the focus points. You can have change manual focus, the range, so macro, infinity, auto, white balance, and exposure. And I have used the manual myself just to test it a few times. On the settings, just to show you what's on the settings. So you've got shutter control, you've got options for that. What that does, long press and shutter takes burst of photos. That's quite a good idea. Grid, watermark, mirror, location tag, data storage, resolution. So the camera stills 13 megapixels and 8 megapixels. Now if we switch to, come back out, and I put video camera on, you've got the flash, you can do front camera, you've got slow motion, time lapse, and if I go to settings here for the video, you can do 1080p maximum on both the front and the rear, and you know, it's not too bad. just going to show you some quick photos, what's possible. So now you've seen the photos, you can actually see that, you know, with a bit of editing, they're not too bad. I wasn't shocked thinking they were goddamn awful. Average, you know, and again for the price, you might be really happy. But it's not too bad. You do have a headphone jack. I've got these one more earphones that I've reviewed recently. They absolutely work brilliantly. Good replacement for the in-ear ones that come with this. Does have Bluetooth. If you connect with Bluetooth, you are using up system resources. That Snapdragon 430 really is being pushed a bit, and it can slow down if you try and do other things with Bluetooth connected. What you can do, if we go to, where is it, battery, I meant to show you this. Let's bring that a bit closer. So with battery, it gives you a lot of information, but here, background activity, and you can control the apps that have background activity. Now remember, I'm a power user, so I've got a lot of stuff in the background. Most people perhaps wouldn't have as many apps installed, and it would work probably a lot more smoother without that delay and actually firing up different things, but it's still a slow processor, I think. But there we have it. Let's conclude. So as you can see, there are some limitations to this device if you try and push it to the limit. Hopefully, you know, for what it costs, it's not a bad phone, but I say there are certain issues with it that you do have to be aware of. But taking the case of, it does look nice, it does feel nice, but it is quite slippery. Anyway, this is Gavin from Gavin's Gadgets. Hope you liked everything. Catch you guys soon. Bye.